Thank you. Good evening, or ne ho ma, if you want it Hong Kong style, and welcome to the penultimate Ultra Quiz, the show which travels across the world, recording the efforts of a bunch of brave Britons trying to preserve their sanity and win £10,000 at the same time. Now, over these past weeks, 7 weeks in all, man and boy, I've seen 2,000 Brighton day trippers mercilessly cut down to 200, seen railway fanatics reduced to 60, and clutching their passports in suntan lotion, they shuffled aboard the cross-channel ferry. By the time we've reached France, 25 more were set adrift, leaving 35 to sample the delights of the champagne. Only 24 survived their hangovers, and those were split into the groups for the quarter-final. 12 going to Amsterdam and 12 to Bahrain. From there, we narrowed the numbers down to 8 and took them to the Far East for our semi-final, which we see tonight. And so to Hong Kong, which the brochures describe as one of life's great adventures, teeming with people, towering skyscrapers, suits made to measure between breakfast and lunch, and some even fit, and perhaps the best food in the world. Tropical rainstorms are promised, but it takes more than a mighty monsoon to wash away Sally James and Jonathan King.
Well, I noticed you've chickened out of learning any Chinese, Sally.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Jonathan, I have.
I was looking forward to you teaching me chicken in soybean sauce in Cantonese.
Well, I think you should be awfully glad that you just haven't eaten chicken in soybean sauce, because bobbing up and down this sampan, you'd have frightful indigestion, dear.
Well, at least we're on a sampan to Hong Kong. You'd moan if we were on a slow boat to China.
I would if you were singing it. Excuse me.
Millions have bought my dulcet tones on wax.
And live to regret it.
I'll ignore that. Well, let's get on with the Ultra Quiz, shall we?
I think we should, because here we are in Hong Kong for the semi-final, and in a week's time, we'll be finding out who will be £10,000 richer. But, Jonathan, I have to say, I'm not frightfully impressed with this weather, and the forecast is diabolical.
Here we're in the middle of the rainy season, but Hong Kong's great fun. There's a lot to see. All the prices are very low, the food is delicious, and the contestants will get a chance to cool off after Bahrain.
And so will we. And talking of the contestants, sir, do you think we should possibly go and meet them at the airport?
Yes, let's go and give them lots of love, kisses, hugs, affection. You don't believe me, do you?
No, I don't believe you.
Wait till we get there.
Looks almost real, doesn't it? We have our two resident mandarins here, of course, Russell Grant and David Manuel. And now we're nearly there. We're down to 8 in Hong Kong, and there's only room for 4 on the plane back here for the final. Now, I haven't actually met any of them, and I wonder who you think will be greeting for the final here in the studio. Russell.
Well, I think it's rather interesting. The day this took place, there were many, many trines about. And for you...
Many what about?
Trines. And for an uninitiated celestial gazer, Michael, a trine is an excellent aspect that's flowing, harmonious, and positively beautiful, just like me. And the signs basically affect are going to be fire and air signs. And that is Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini, they're the air signs, or Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, they're the fire signs. And amongst my little list, the 4 that fall in this category, and indeed their rising signs, are hit quite beautifully too by this trine, which seems to be coming from both Jupiter and Uranus, doesn't seem to be, it is in fact, is Gary, he's a Leo, Grant, a Libra, John Kerridge, that's the big portly one, he's an Aquarian like me, and most of us get a bit sizey after about 40, and Clive from Ewell. And that's about it, really.
That's all I wanted to know, and
Is
that's
it?
fine, yeah, thank you.
I took up all that time.
David, let's have the scientific point of view.
Well, I'll try to do it myself, Michael. No, I'll have to use the computer, I'm afraid. If you look at the computer, it's rated the 8 contestants in order of merit, and the computer thinks that the top 4 will get through. The top 4 being John Kerridge, Clive Scott, Grant Coles, and Gary Easton. So that's what the computer says, and I'm sure it's right.
And we match.
Yeah, that's interesting. Very similar points of view. Both saying, watch Big John. Well, now, the day that our intrepid 8 arrived at Kai Tak Airport was full of surprises. Not only was it the wettest day for years, but as their jumbo was on its final approach, they were handed yet another questionnaire to be completed before the wheels touched the runway.
Well, you know, I feel that we've got to lose another one, so we might as well start as we mean to go on.
Well, I'm going to be very dominant over you today and insist that straight away we bring them off that plane which they've been on for over 16 hours and tell them the result.
Okay, Ray, come on down. Here comes Ray, looking very debonair, bristles on his chin.
This is a fashion show, you know.
I certainly know when I look at Ray. Okay, Ray, stand over there, the other side of the thing. Sally's going to wander over, and on your hat, she's going to put your score. Bend down a little, Ray. We have Sally marking the score on your hat. Everyone now knows your score, except you, because you're wearing it. Right, come on down, John.
Of course, we've got two Johns in the semi-final here. We've got John the bookie, who this is, and later on Big John, who's the bookie's favourite.
Next to Ray. Yes, I did, yes. Well, he thinks Big John's obviously done rather well. Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
Okay?
Okay, on with the next one. Gary.
Yes, the viewers haven't seen Gary for a couple of weeks because he won in Amsterdam.
Absolutely, yes. Fresh over from Amsterdam. Scores being scribbled down on the hat. Ray is desperately looking to see what everybody else's score is. He doesn't know what his own is. Come on, Big John. Here comes Big John, the bookie's favourite.
We haven't actually asked the Amsterdam people who they tipped as their favourite.
Yeah, we'll have to do that a little later on. Okay, John, score on your head. We'll march you over. Sally, you're doing an awful lot of hard work here. Go and stand over there. Right, next in line, Clive, come on down.
I must say, that's a lucky bag for Clive. He's been taking that everywhere with him.
Clive's lucky bag. Go over and stand over there. Sally's going to scribble. Don't go running too far away. Clive is having to bend down because he's a little... Don't talk to each other. Absolute silence, contestants. Right, come on, Richard. Richard's next.
Yes, he's Richard.
Another one of our Bahrain winners. Stand over there. Actually, you might stand nearer so that Sally doesn't have to run half the way across Hong Kong to reach you. Scribbling furiously. Next, it's Teresa. Come on, Teresa. Everyone's looking at everyone and seeing how they're doing. Teresa's belting down those steps.
She looks awfully fit.
Right, come on. Teresa, your mark is going to get put on your head now. And we've only got one to go. Come on then, Grant. Down comes Grant. Now, no talking, you lot.
No speaking.
Right, now Grant's going to have his score put on as well after Sally's done a quick check. Well, that's about it now.
All done.
Yes, they've all got their scores on their hats, and as you can see, everyone can see what they've got except for themselves.
Yes, I think we should tell them, don't you? I mean, there ought to be some way nice to them now. So, yes, you know, don't you? I'm sorry, but Richard, I'm afraid you're our loser.
I'm sorry, Richard, and I'm afraid what we've got to do to you is you've got to turn right round, go straight up those same steps, back on the plane, all the way to London.
Bye-bye. Sorry.
Bye-bye, Richard.
Bye-bye.
I feel terrible now. I can't believe
It's such a long flight.
We should stay a day or two. Bye-bye, Richard.
So, a sweet and sour beginning to our first day in Honkers. That solitary girl, Teresa, hoping to show them all a clean pair of high heels, but she is living dangerously. Sally and Jonathan then grabbed the two with the next lowest marks, who happened to be Ray and Teresa, both with only 8 right out of the 20 questions, and took them for a ride on the Peak Tram up Mount Victoria. One of them won't be coming back. Teresa or Ray? Quick forecast from Russell?
Well, I've looked at both of their charts, and Ray is very, very Virgoan indeed. Now, that's meant to be quite a brainy sign, but I wonder, in Ray's case, and certainly as far as Teresa's concerned, she's an Aries. It seems as that they're as good as each other, and that's terrible. So I'm rather worried. Ray is under a tremendous amount of disruption. Uranus is hovering all over him. There's a square aspect there, and I think it's quite likely he could, well, have a funny do. Whereas Teresa, being an Aries, I think will forage forward with verve, vigour and veracity, and therefore I think that she'll do it.
I must tell you, they're both dying to meet you. Anyway, the rules of this game are simple. There are 10 numbered questions. Ray and Teresa select in turn a question for their opposite number to answer.
Will you pick a number, please, Teresa?
Number 3. Okay, Ray, here's your first question. Congleton stands on the banks of the River Dane. In which county is Congleton? Derbyshire. I'm afraid the answer is Cheshire.
Okay, Ray, pick a number for Teresa.
6. Number 6. Okay, here's your question then, Teresa. Name either of the 2 writers of the TV series about 2 junkmen called Steptoe and Son.
I'm sorry, I just can't think of it.
Ray Simpson and Alan Galton, you knew that, didn't you?
Yeah. Okay, Teresa, pick a number for Ray. Number 2.
Number 2, all right. Which English thriller writer co-wrote the screenplay of the 1933 film King Kong? Agatha Christie. Oh, I thought you were going to say Charles Dickens for a moment. No, I'm afraid the answer was Edgar Wallace. 8. Your question is as follows. What symbol is used to represent the Hong Kong Tourist Association?
A dragon?
No, I'm afraid not. It's a junk. Neither of you are doing very well here.
No, it's 0-0-0-0 so far. Okay, Teresa, and number for Ray. Number 9.
Number 9. All right, Ray, your question. Who or what was Hong Kong Fooey? The cartoon character on television. That's it, a cartoon character in a TV series of the same name.
Go on, pick a nice number for her, Ray.
Number 10, though. Okay, number 10, Teresa. Hong Kong Island horse race track is known as what?
I'm sorry, I don't have a clue.
Happy Valley.
Number 4.
Number 4, okay, yes.
Okay,
Right, Ray, here you are. Apart from a type of piano, you won't know this, what is a honky-tonk? It's what a black man calls a white man in New York. No, not quite, Ray. It's a very good guess, because you've got at least 50% with a honky. But actually, a honky-tonk is a disreputable nightclub or place of cheap entertainment. I can see by looking at you, you would never frequent that kind of place.
I also think it's incredibly unfair that you've reduced Teresa, your opponent, to a state of hysterics. Are you ready to continue? Because this is an awfully dramatic moment for you. You have to get the next question right.
Well, Ray's got to give the number.
Okay, Ray, give the number.
5. Number 5.
Okay, you're in control? Yeah. Right, your big moment. You have to get this right, okay?
Who played the title role in the film Accountant from Hong Kong?
Sophie Loren.
Well
Oh,
done!
well done.
My goodness, that's fantastic.
I'm going to do number 1 for Ray.
Right. Ray, the song Funiculi Funicular, which I'm sure you remember because it was composed in 1880, to celebrate the funicular which was built that year to the summit of which European volcano? Oh, no, that was, yes, but it was Vesuvius, I'm afraid. So might I suggest that you select number 7 for Teresa? Number 7.
Okay. Changes on this then, Jonathan.
It really does, because you're both equal at the moment. Number 7 then, Teresa. Here in Hong Kong, the 1983 Chinese New Year began in what month?
February.
Well done! Teresa, I'm afraid, Ray, this is a horrid moment for me. The man who thought Charles Dickens wrote a cookbook is finally eliminated.
Well, that's it then. Teresa only got 2 out of 5 answers right, but Ray only got 1 right, which means that he gets a touch of the Hong Kong blues.
Well, you seem awfully upset, Teresa.
Yes, because Ray was one of the nicest people, and I'm sort of going to miss him, you know, the character.
He really was. His answer for honky tonk, which did not actually was good, wasn't
It
it?
was really incredible. It's going to make a lot of people very happy.
Well, now look, we have heard that Big John, who is everyone's favourite, has been tipping you to win. What are your chances?
0.
Well, Russell, you did say that Teresa would win.
Yes, well, it just shows what Uranus can do when it hovers. And obviously, she had the hovers, and he didn't.
And he's stuck up there at the top, poor lad.
Stuck up there, definitely.
Anyway, then there were 6. And by this time, nerves were not only jangling, but tummies were rumbling as well. So off they went for a special breakfast aboard one of Hong Kong's famous floating restaurants. But what looked like an appetizing menu turned out to be one of those dreaded questionnaires with chips.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn the questionnaires over and good luck.
But I could have kicked myself for not getting the runabout the Walla Walla, because I've been to Hong Kong before, and I've been in these little boats, and the least I could have done was to have known what they were called. So, Grant, did you ever think you'd get this far?
No, I must admit I didn't. I thought I was out in Bahrain.
So you reckon you really 5 to 1 chance?
Well, I think I'd probably be a megastar now.
Well, what about John? Big John, he's everybody's favourite, isn't he yours?
Well, he could be my favourite, actually. We share a room together.
Well, I think I'm under some pressure. I think it's the air pressure that's getting to me. I must admit.
It was a surprise again. He keeps throwing these things at us.
Was it true that you were actually laughing at poor old Richard being sent back on that plane yesterday?
Yes. I couldn't help it. The relief of somebody else going out apart from me.
You just couldn't have faced another 16-hour flight.
No. Not at all. I could do with a 16-hour sleep.
Questionnaires in the air.
Yeah, put your pens on the table, and that's it.
So they've filled in their forms, wishing they could fill in Jonathan, but I'm afraid you will have to wait until after the break for the results when we get the numbers down to 5. In part 2, see whose prospects get nipped in the bud, and the strange Chinese custom. Welcome back to Answer Quiz. They're down to 6 contestants in Hong Kong. Well, actually, after that last questionnaire on the floating restaurant, there are now 5. Sally and Jonathan announce the results, but first, Russell and David, who do you think will be that loser? Russell?
Well, the thing is, we've already said that what 4 we think is going to get to the final, which leaves 2 out of the 6 that I didn't say would get in, and that's John Reed, known as John the Bookie, and Teresa Symes.
So, David, I don't know whether you think they're poopy at all, but what do you think the computer
Well, I think that Russell just can't make up his mind. Russell needs a bit of help, so I brought a computer along to give to Russell
Oh, a
to help
gadget.
him out a bit.
A gadget of
little
the
gadget. How sweet.
Unlike Russell, the computer is quite decisive, and it's pushing Teresa to one side.
Right, she's being edged out by the look of it, but let's now find out the truth.
Okay, gang, the moment you've been waiting for, the results of the questionnaire. Gary, you scored 5. Grant, you scored 5. Clive, you scored 5.
Have they all scored 5?
No, not all of them. Have a look at yourself.
I'll never get myself here. Oh, this is a turn up for the books we got here. The bookie's favourite, Big John. You only scored 7.5.
Oh dear, you're slipping.
Teresa, 2.5, I'm afraid. And John the bookie, your score is only 4.5. We got you then. It's rather a mean thing to do, wasn't it?
It was.
And I'm afraid, Teresa, you're the loser here, but you look really quite delighted to be out. Well, here we go, and I'm afraid, Teresa, since you lost, you've got to eat lunch, but I don't want to leave you with no lunch at all. So this is the big, huge lobster can place. I'm holding it rather gingerly. You've got to reach in and get one of these lobsters out. I do want... No, not to do it, Teresa. Everyone has done the forfeit in the show. You've got to do it too. Sally, I'm going to leave you to make sure Teresa gets the lobster out of there.
Okay, Teresa, let's have a go, shall we? There you are, go on.
Biden please, and one not so unhappy contestant, one lucky lobster. And, gents, you got it right, congratulations. But what about our 5 winners? They must be going through a whirlpool of emotions. There is, after all, one more loser to find before the end of the day. And so we move to our last location in Hong Kong, when our 5 winners went for a ride on a junk. This is, as I say, a crucial time because we are about to discard our last loser before the final. Now, it's between Clive, the 2 Johns, Gary and Grant. There are 3 rounds here, but the scores accumulate. First, a round of either-or questions.
Okay, here's the first question. In Cantonese, what is good morning? Is it Joe Sun or Joe Tao?
I'm fairly confident that's Joe Sun.
Joe Sun.
Joe Sun. Joe Tao. Joe Sun.
Well, the answer is Joe Sun.
Anyway, a chance to catch up. Here's the second question. In Cantonese, yes is hi. What is no? Is it Joe hi or hi?
Hi. 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 Hi.
Well, the answer is hi, and you all got that one right. Well done.
King Mong Kut was the name of the king played by Yul Brynner in the film The King and I, who played the same role in the 1946 film Anna and the King of Siam. Was it Charles Boyer or Rex Harrison?
Rex Harrison. Charles Boyer. Charles Boyer. Rex Harrison. Charles Boyer.
And the answer is Rex Harrison.
According to the Chinese calendar, was last year, 1982, the year of the dog or rat?
Dog. Dog. Rat. Rat. Rat.
Well, the answer is that it was the year of the dog.
Okay, fifth and last question. What is the name of the world's famous carpet made at Tai Po? Is it Ping Tai or Tai Ping?
Tai Ping. Tai Ping. Tai Ping. Tai Ping. Tai Ping.
Well, the answer is Tai Ping, indeed. You all knew.
Well, I'm sure you will work this out for yourselves, but I'll tell you the scores now. Big John has got 5. Well
Bookie
done.
favourite remains in front.
Clive has 4, and John, Grant, and Gary each have 3.
And round 2 and Shades of Amsterdam, another Dutch auction. And don't forget the scores here are added to those marks gained in the first round.
We're going to ask you some questions and then give you a series of suggested answers in descending order. When you think we've reached the correct answer, we want you to raise your right hand.
The trouble is, they're all going to play Follow My Leader. I know this
Yes,
lot.
this is true. They probably will.
Well, I've come up with a good weed. We're going to blindfold
Oh! Okay, here we go with the first question. Good luck. Traditionally, the Chinese New Year in Hong Kong is celebrated over 15 days. But how long is the officially legislated public holiday? Do you think it's 5 days? Do you think it's 4 days? Do you think it's 3 days?
According to the official Hong Kong Census Department, what was the total population of Hong Kong at the end of 1982? Was it 5,700,000? Do you think it was 5,500,000? If you think it was 5,300,000, raise your arm. Well, that was the correct answer. On to the next question.
What is the direct mileage from Hong Kong to London? Is it 6,825? 6,725 miles? 6,525 miles?
Right, next question. When did the British surrender Hong Kong to the Japanese? Was it 1941? If you think it was, raise your arm.
Final question. In a normal year, how many months are there in the Chinese calendar? 12. That is the correct answer. So if we tot up the scores from the 2 quizzes, we still have Big John in the lead. he has 8 points. Clive and Gary then both have 7 points. And then we have John and Grant, who both have 5 points. But there's still one more game to go, so it could all change. So here we go with the last round. We're going to ask each of you 5 questions. And when we ask you those questions, we'll tot up your score with the previous 2 quizzes you've done here on the junk, and then we will know who our 4 finalists will be.
And to get your 5 sets of questions, we're going to ask you to dip into this little bag and pull out individual mahjong dice. Okay. Gary, let's have a look at your tile. That's number 2. Ye. Oh, ye of little faith. Here are your questions. Number 1. Charlie Chan was created by Earl de Biggers. In which island police force was Charlie Chan supposed to be a detective?
Hong Kong?
No, Honolulu. Second question. What is a guilo?
A small lizard?
A guilo is a foreigner. Question number 3. Come on, Gary, you've got to get this together. What does Kowloon actually mean?
9 dragons.
Well done. 9 dragons it is. Question 4. Kowloon was ceded to the British in 1860, along with what island?
Stonecutters.
Perfect, Stonecutters, correct. So you got 2 out of 4. Question 5. The Chinese celebrate the Dragon Festival by eating chun sei. What are chun sei?
Are they eggs?
I'm afraid they're not eggs. They're rice dumplings. So you got 2 out of 5. Your score is now 9.
Okay, Clive, let's have a look at your mahjong tile and see which set of questions you're going to get. That, in fact, is 15. So here are your questions. First question coming up. The Hong Kong base for the Royal Navy is in HMS Tamar. In England, the River Tamar forms an historic boundary between which 2 counties?
Devon and Cornwall.
That's right, Clive. Question 2. What is the name of the herb mainly grown in America, Manchuria and Korea, whose roots resemble the shape of a man and are in great demand, mainly because of the popular Chinese belief that they are aphrodisiacs?
Ginseng.
Absolutely right. 2 out of 2. You are very well, Clive. Question 3. What was the name of the first woman cosmonaut?
Valentina Tereshkova.
Absolutely right. I'm glad you said that and I didn't have to. 3 out of 3. You are going well, Clive. 4th question. According to the Kowloon Canton Railway, how long within 2 kilometres is the train journey from Kowloon Station to the Chinese Republic border at Lo Wu?
22 miles. Or
Miles?
22 kilometres.
No, sorry, Clive, it's 34 kilometres. Still, not to worry. Last question coming up, and you've got 3 out of 4 right anyhow. In Hong Kong, what do the initials MTR stand for?
Mass Transit Railway.
Well done, you've got 4 out of 5 there. That means your total score is 11, so I think we'll see Clive in the final as well, don't you, Jonathan?
They both look pretty safe. Big jog. Before we go to your questions, let's take a look at your mahjong dice. Now, which one is it?
I don't know, but I believe it's the number 4.
It's very pretty. Yes, it's number 4. The blue thing at the top is 4. Did you know that?
No, I didn't
Well,
know
if you
that.
don't know that, I don't think you're going to do very well on this
Sorry.
question. All right, here are your 5 questions. Question number 1. Stanley is the name of a small market village on the south side of Hong Kong Island. Where is there another port called Stanley in the Atlantic?
Port Stanley is the capital of the Falkland Islands.
Falkland Islands is correct. Question 2. What is the name of the scaly anteater which grows to about 1 metre in length and is indigenous to Hong Kong?
A pangolin.
The Chinese pangolin. Yes, we accept that. Good for you. Question 3. According to the Chinese lunar calendar, what event happens on the double fifth?
The Feast of the Maiden.
No, I'm afraid the answer there is the Dragon Boat Race. Question number 4. What are Peng Chao, Tung Chao, Marwan, Tek Lap Tok, and Samar.
Minor islands of Hong Kong.
They are islands, so we'll accept that. That's 3 out of 4. And your 5th question. The Chinese are famous for their beautiful handwriting. What is the name of the art of beautiful handwriting?
I have no idea, but I'll write you my resignation if you want.
Calligraphy. Well, that means you've got 3 out of 5 right, which brings your total so far to 11, which I think means you're pretty safe, John.
Okay, John, let's have a look at your mahjong tile. That, in fact, is the ya. So here are your questions. If you flew directly due east from Hong Kong, what is the first mainland area of America you would pass over?
California?
No, sorry, John, it would be Mexico. Second question. What is an armor?
A Chinese title, a Chinese lord of some sort.
No, I'm sorry, it's not. It's a maid, actually. Third question. Prior to the start of the dragon race, a ceremony of respect is performed at the temple of Sin Hao. Of what was she the goddess?
Water?
Well, I think we can give you half a point for that. In fact, it was the sea, or fisherman. Okay, 4th question. What is the name of the largest port for Hong Kong's largest fishing community?
No, it's gone.
Sorry about that one, that was Aberdeen. Okay, 5th question. What does a red flash on a policeman's shoulder indicate?
Traffic policeman.
No, sorry, it means that you can speak English. Well, sorry about that, John, but I'm afraid you only got half a point there, so your total score is actually 5.5. So that means that Grant only has to get 1 question right to be our next finalist.
Right, Grant, we will go through all 5 of your questions and see how you go, okay? First of all, let's take a look at your tile. And we happen to know that that is 3, which is Sam in Cantonese. I've been doing a lot of squatting up here, so Sally slackened off in her Cantonese. So here are your 5 questions. You've only got to get one of you in there. Question 1. In which river did the legendary Chinese poet and patriot Hu Yuan drown himself?
It's a guess, the Yangtze.
No, the Milo River. Okay, second question. By what name is the dreaded hooded hammer dryad better known?
Is it the triangle?
No, it's the king cobra. Question 3. Where would you find the city of Taipei?
Taiwan.
Well done. You're there.
Sorry, John.
Question 4. Which of the tropics runs just north of Hong Kong?
Cancer.
Absolutely right. And question 5. Who played the title role in the 1950s TV series Charlie Chan?
I've no idea.
Before your time, wasn't it?
It was.
J. Carroll Nash. So you got 2 right there, and your total is now 7, which makes you in the final 4. And I'm afraid, John Reed, we have to say goodbye to you, our final loser in the Ultra Quiz. Bye.
Well, I knew the J. Carroll Nash bit, but it isn't easy, of course, if you're feeling seasick, as at least one of them was. So if you put your money on John the Bookie, you would have come unstuck. Now, Russell and David, you have to remind me who you predicted would get through.
Well, the ones who have. Gary from Ramsgate, Grant from the Isle of Wight, John Kerridge, the Aquarium from Merseyside, and Clive from Ewell. So, interesting stuff, eh?
And you were pretty similar, David.
Yes, Russell's doing a lot better since I gave him that computer. The computer came up with exactly the same, as you'd expect.
I'd rather use Venus than his computer any day.
So would I.
Now, don't squabble, boys. At least there'll be no more confusion with the 2 Johns. Now, what is Jonathan going to do to that gallant English gentleman?
Well, Jonathan, we're at the end of our trek across the world. Next week we'll be back home in England for the final. So, what have you done with John Reed, our last loser?
John in the Cambridge crew going the way of almost all flesh. We're all set for that big studio payoff with our final four. One of them will be £10,000 richer in just 7 days. Well, next week, the third-degree spotlight will be on Big John Kerry from Merseyside, Gary Easton from Ramsgate, Clive Scott from Ewell in Surrey, and Grant Coles from the Isle of Wight. So it's 1 northern lad and 3 from the south, and they face one another here in this studio. And Sally and Jonathan will be with us too, so bring plenty of rotten tomatoes. But from Russell, David and myself, a good night, and join us for the handing over of that £10,000 cheque in the Ultra Quiz final next Saturday. So goodbye and sleep well.